that water, forming a solution. So it means we call it a solution because we have mineral salts that will dissolve in that plant grows in that. The root of that plant will be surrounded by solution in the soil. That is the soil water that contains mineral salts. And yet, we also know that the plant cell, we said in the cell vacuole, we have the cell sap. And in the cell sap, we have sugars, we have, and these are important in as far as movement of water from the soil into the root is concerned. When you are introduced to the process of osmosis, you are told about one of the factors that is important in enhancing the movement of water molecules from one medium to the other. You are told that there must be a concentration gradient. 2 points must be at different levels of concentration, so that from a dilute solution, water should be able to move to the concentrated solution. And this is what happens in between the soil solution and the cell sap that is found inside the root. That the roots must have a higher concentration of salts compared to the soil, and that is to create a concentration gradient, so that water can now move from soil solution into the cell sap, because the cell sap has a higher concentration. And that is what precisely happens. And the next question will be, how is higher concentration of salts maintained in the roots compared to the soil? We saying that is maintained, that is possible because the root hairs have a higher concentration of the root hairs have a higher concentration, have mitochondria. Those are cells, they have mitochondria, which mitochondria are supposed to produce energy. And this energy is used to transport, to actively pump mineral salts from soil into the root hairs, so that there is a higher concentration of the mineral salts in the root hairs compared to the soil, so that water can now move from the soil into the root hairs by osmosis. I don't know whether I've helped you.
Thank you.
Have I helped you? Have we followed?
Yes.
Okay. Unless there's another question in regard to this particular point. Yes, I've had somebody calling.
Teacher,
Yes, please.
Let the student first ask.
Yes, please. There was a student who, yes, go ahead.
Does the water pass through all the parts at once, or it chooses one?
Now, does it pass through? For the case of the roots, you remember the root is surrounded by the root hair, the root hairs. Root hairs are actually individual cells. So it means the root hair is one cell, and the root is surrounded by, at that particular point, surrounded by the root hairs. So where there is the root hair in contact with the cortex, then we'll expect that root hair to be able to absorb water and pass it to the next cells, to the cortex cells. So where there are very many, then we expect many cells to be involved in the transportation of the water. Why does this happen? Because in the end, the plant requires water upstream. This could be for the process of photosynthesis, could be for other processes. So it is important that the plant is able to use as much of the root to absorb water as possible. So most likely, most of the cells in the cortex will be able to pass this water from the root hairs to the stem, rather to the xylem, then up. Any other question here?
Okay, I see any other question, but the child you have explained it. I think she has got it. What happens to the solution is that water enters by osmosis from the soil to the root hairs, and the mineral salts by active transport. Although these two move together into the root hair, one is by osmosis, by active transport. I think that's what you.
Yeah, thank you for that emphasis. So our time is running out, and I want to emphasize at this point that once water moves from the soil into the root hair, it means the concentration of the cell sap there is going to reduce compared to the concentration of the cell sap in the cortex cell, the next cortex cell. Because of that, water will move from the root hair to the immediate cortex solution is going to decrease in concentration compared to the next. So that will result in cortex cell to the next. So in other words, when water moves from one cell to the to next, then it means the concentration of the salts in that cell is going to reduce compared to the the next cell, and this results into continuous flow of water from the root hair to the immediate cortex cell, then to the next cortex cell until when the water reaches the xylem cell, xylem tissue. Then from the xylem tissue, because of other forces that are there, water will be able to move upstream. And that bit is what will be looked at in the next lesson. So we shall, our time is out, we shall stop here. And I want to wish you a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher. You too.
You're welcome.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank
Bye.
you, teacher.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
It's not on the platform.
Biology, that's French.
Could you please tell us?
Bye. Teacher. Bye.
Bye, my dear.
Hey, mama.